Hello, everyone. I'm so excited to be chatting with you today about all that Filecoin has achieved in year one. Just 1 year ago, the Filecoin mainnet went live, and it's been absolutely staggering to reflect on how much we've achieved just in the past year. We've built one of the largest data storage networks on the planet. We built the fastest upgrading blockchain, more than 10xing available chain bandwidth just within the first 8 months of launch. We built the cheapest large-scale storage network in the world, and we made it dramatically easier to add data to Filecoin and started onboarding large-scale users. Starting from the top, I'd love to count down the 10 most amazing improvements that we shipped to Filecoin in the past year to reflect on what Filecoin was then and what it is now. Starting at the beginning, chain capacity and storage capacity. It's been absolutely crazy to see what Filecoin has done in the past year in this area. When we started out with mainnet, we just had 0.6 exabytes of capacity across a little over 300 storage providers, and the network was growing as fast as it possibly could as new storage providers added data to the network. We had just a single implementation securing mainnet and had just accepted our first FIP into the network. In the early days, making new storage deals was relatively difficult. While it might have been cheap, you had to run significant infrastructure and tooling in order to kind of participate in the Filecoin network. It was difficult to select which storage provider was going to be best for you and your data. And finally, the application platform of Filecoin was really just getting started. We had a ton of amazing kind of users and applications coming from the IPFS ecosystem into Filecoin. We just graduated the first 100 projects from the Filecoin Ignite hackathons, and the first set of deals was getting made on the network, which was really amazing to see, but we've come so far since then. So starting with network storage capacity, we 20x'd the network storage capacity in the past year, starting at the very beginning with mainnet and now reaching over 12 exabytes of storage capacity. It's just absolutely insane to reflect on. And you can absolutely see how improvements like the hyperdrive upgrade accelerated the daily addition of new storage capacity into the network. And the number of storage providers around the world that came online, we added over 3,000 storage providers, which is huge. Thank you all for joining this network and community. It's so exciting to see what you're doing here. And just really strengthened and grew the whole network from a storage capacity perspective. This is just a tiny sample of all of the amazing businesses and companies and organizations who have joined Filecoin and are making it stronger by providing storage space. Looking at chain bandwidth, it's absolutely crazy to see the improvements launched here. I think we might be the fastest network that's ever launched such a chain bandwidth increase. The hyperdrive upgrade back in the end of June really accelerated the ability for storage providers to add new capacity to the Filecoin network. This helped the network double its onboarding rate kind of pretty much overnight, which is phenomenal. And it also brought a number of improvements around making it cheaper to make new deals on the network, making it easier for miners to reason about their infrastructure, and just in general, really leveled up Filecoin's game just within the first 8 months. So you can see the base fee became low, predictable. This brought some massive improvements with SnarkPack, which was kind of fundamental new research on how to, Filecoin being the snarkiest network out there in the world, to do that really efficiently. And now there's thousands of proofs being done every day. 7.4 million POREPs per day. So like Filecoin is just absolutely scaled, I think more than any of us could possibly have imagined, which is really phenomenal. Looking at network security, it's been amazing to see two of the Filecoin additional implementations, Venus and Forest, join Filecoin mainnet, adding a lot more security to the network, helping kind of implement new Filecoin improvement proposals to the network, and in general, making sure that all of the Filecoin core consensus data is fully secure across all of these different implementations. And two things that really help there. One, test vectors, which help us look between each of those Filecoin implementations and validate that the implementations are all saying the same thing and staying in sync. And there was also a major improvement to Lotus that launched, I think, in the July-August timeframe, which enabled storage providers to segment their Lotus miner process from their markets process. This added significant security to the network as well, because as you're accepting many storage deals, this keeps your normal kind of like participating in the network process safe and secure from any faults or DOS attempts or anything that might otherwise impact. And this has been like a huge level up. Multiple storage providers have called out that this has saved their setups in multiple situations, which is really amazing. Looking at upgrades, as we mentioned, we just accepted our first FIP, and now there's been over 20 FIPs accepted into the network by tons of people from many, many different institutions. A number of them are actually releasing in the network upgrade happening next week. And so this has just been amazing to see the kind of acceleration and participation across the community. You've really made Filecoin yours, and please keep participating, because this is how we make the network better and stronger. Looking at storage costs and availability. As I mentioned, there was still really early days here when it came to storing and using the Filecoin network, and a ton of things shipped over the past year to make that way easier. The first of those was Filecoin Plus. This is kind of the way that, that Filecoin can highly incentivize very valuable storage to come onto the network. And so Filecoin Plus shipped its principles like around the time mainnet started, and then since then has scaled to tens or 20s of notaries around the world that are giving out massive amounts of data cap, which can help large institutions like the USC Shoah Foundation, like the Internet Archive, very effectively store their data with storage providers for very low prices. And this is all done through kind of a decentralized governance process across all of these notaries who are validating that these new users coming on are adding really useful data to the network. And as you can see, all of the storage providers who are advertising that they are accepting Filecoin Plus deals are offering free storage for those, which is just amazing, and a wonderful thing that kind of Filecoin can provide through the incentives of the Filecoin Plus program. We also saw in the past year Filecoin reputation systems launch, which is the thing that adds so much utility of being able to choose the right storage provider for you and not have to, do a lot of testing or validation of that storage provider ahead of time. You can lean on these reputation systems to identify who should I store my data with. And this made it much smoother and easier to get up to speed, and really increased reliability when it comes to aiming to make a deal with a storage provider. You as a client know who's going to be responsive, who's going to work closely with you on getting your data into the network. And there's been some great tools like the stuff that Phil Swan is building that are aiming to make that smoother and easier, and something that clients can just aim on the network providing to them. There's also been a ton of work that the textile team has done here, which is just amazing. And I know it's used under the hood in a ton of different places, from Estuary to a number of other groups are all using the textile bid bot, which allows you to do these Filecoin deal auctions, which are kind of a different model. Instead of clients kind of sending their data to storage providers bid on the potential deals that are available, and request to store them, which helps clients get better prices and more engaged providers. So this has been an amazing upgrade and tooling that's being released. Something you're going to hear more about in today's and tomorrow's Orbit conference is indexing. The indexer node and indexing all of the content that is being added to the Filecoin network, making it available on the IPFS gateway and any node in the IPFS network, which can really help large scale users who are coming and storing their data in Filecoin to make it highly accessible to the entire world and community who's participating in the IPFS network. There's a ton of work that went into making this possible under the hood. So, definitely recommend leaning in, researching more about kind of how the indexer node is going to upgrade our current usage of Filecoin all over. Dev onboarding effort was tricky when Filecoin first launched, and it has become so much smoother and easier. Nowadays, you can take 5 minutes and start storing data in Filecoin, and it's just there, and it works, and it's wonderful. You don't have to run any personal infrastructure, and there's simple APIs for you as a developer to build against. And I think there's 3 really amazing new developer on-ramps that have made that so easy for users. The first is NFT.storage, which is a hosted service for NFT storage, which stores data in IPFS cluster, pins that data in Pinata, and also makes replicated Filecoin deals around the world for all of the NFTs stored. A really, really amazing tool that's now available for all NFTs creators and minters. Kind of a broadening of that is Web3.storage, which uses kind of similar practices, but stores any new data, is really tuned for Web3 dApp developers who are coming through hackathons, want to get started quickly, and then scale up with their applications. And then finally, Estuary, which is a new tool for medium to large data storage, which is really helping people bring kind of larger collections of data, like how Brewster was talking about the Internet Archive's data collections. And each one of these is just having massive impact. So NFT.storage has just really changed the game for persistent NFT storage. It makes it easy to avoid rug pulls, make sure your data persists, and have the principle of relying on many different sources, many different independent networks to all ensure that your data is persistent. And now it's stored almost 6.7 million NFTs, which is insane, across 6,000 users, 40 terabytes of NFT data, because NFT.storage has no size restrictions, which means that you can store massive NFTs of virtual rooms, metaverses, video, audio, all of that is available on NFT.storage, and it's used by most major NFT platforms, including OpenSea, Foundation, Palm, OneOf, Zora, MakerPlays, Gala Games, tons of groups are using NFT.storage, and it's been an amazing thing that launched just in April this past year and has already achieved this level of adoption and success. There's also Web3.storage, which is an additional tool for people who are building more applications and dApps in the Web3 space, to make sure their data can easily be added to Filecoin and persisted long term. And that's also seen major adoption. This launched just in the beginning of August, and it's been less than 3 months, and now already has over 5 million uploads. But really easy onboarding ramps, simple JavaScript APIs for anyone to get started. And you can start building one of these and get up to speed within just 10 minutes. It's really amazing. And finally, there's Estuary, which is really, has power use cases for, however large the data is you're storing. Estuary can work with you to figure out how to get it added to the Filecoin network. And it's amazing to see, over 150 terabytes of data stored. It's just, these graphs speak for themselves, really. But Estuary has become like a major, underpinning service that's used across NFT.storage and Web3.storage as well, to really do the batching and deal making within the Filecoin network and make that be something that clients don't have to worry about. Looking into cross-chain integrations, really want to shout out Textile here as well. The work that they've done on the cross-chain bridges, the storage bridges with Near, Polygon, and Ethereum that help bring IPFS persistence and Filecoin deal making directly within those blockchains and those smart contracts is a huge step up for everyone who's building within those worlds. And I think, amazing leap forward when it comes to making it easy to work between all of these different kind of compatible blockchain communities. And so I think that work has made it so much easier for anyone who's minting a new NFT, trying to store data from a smart contract, to get up and running super fast. There's also a ton of cross-chain bridges with many groups. Filecoin, as the storage layer of Web3, has integrations and collaborations across most of these. And it's this is the sort of thing that has made it so much easier as a developer to make sure from wherever you're building, wherever your work is running, that you can use Filecoin as your persistent storage layer. And there's been hackathons and collaborations and new features and new tools that have been coming out of each of these collaborations. And so definitely keep your eyes posted. There's always new stuff. There's also been some amazing collaborations with browsers. As you know, IPFS nodes are embedded in Brave, so anyone can access their favorite IPFS content directly from their own local node if they choose to in Brave. There's also been amazing browser collaborations across a number of other groups, and we are very excited to see more of this. The Browser 3000 hackathon that happened just 2 months ago had a ton of amazing kind of collaborations, experiments that are just kind of shaping up to hit the whole world. So keep your eyes posted here. There's going to be more exciting stuff too. Apps and tools. There were already a amazing community across the entire IPFS ecosystem of tools and projects that were building in the IPFS space, who kind of moved into the Filecoin space and really took off. Slate is a beautiful example many people use to display their libraries and photo collections. There's Ledger integrations for Filecoin. Fleek helps you get your website up on the DWeb using IPFS and Filecoin really quickly and smoothly. There's Powergate 2.0 that launched this year, which is amazing and super useful when it comes to building distributed applications on Filecoin. Truffle made it so much easier to kind of test and as a developer suite, brought all of their expertise to IPFS and Filecoin. There's a ton of amazing DeFi use cases with the Filecoin DeFi bridge that makes it a lot easier to use Filecoin. And then MetaMask, which of course is everyone's favorite wallet tool, also has added Filecoin support. And so there's a ton of new capabilities that are available here as well. From an ecosystem momentum perspective, I'm sure Colin is saying the same thing as I will right now, but there's just been massive improvements and capabilities brought through the PL Builders funnel, from new developer resources and tools like what we just talked about, to hackathons around the world, many of them happening simultaneously that help people onboard onto the network, to grants, accelerators, and massive ways to kind of take your hackathon project and turn it into something real, something that everyone wants to use. And then finally, a whole community of ecosystem investors who are committing millions of dollars and participating in the funding rounds for the groups that are graduating from these accelerators, who are excited to hit the world. And so, as you can see, over 10,000 developers so far just in 2021 have been engaged through the Builders funnel. It's crazy to see the sorts of projects these groups are creating. It's really, really powerful. And now over 60 teams graduating from 4 accelerators in 2021. That's the next cohort of Web3 building their businesses and their projects right on top of this foundation. So the ecosystem has truly taken a massive leap forward this year. And now over $50 million of external capital is being raised by third parties to contribute to these projects as well. So it's a great time to get started as a builder, building on top of IPFS and Filecoin as well. And many people are. Over 230 startups are entering the PL ecosystem, building on top of this. And it's just resulted in an amazing growth and thriving ecosystem and community that's building on top of these protocols. Last but not least, useful storage. Really, this is the true aim and mission of Filecoin, to help store the world's most valuable information. And a ton of work was done this year to take it and make it really, really easy to add new data to Filecoin. So you can see there's just like a massive acceleration in the sort of data that's being added to Filecoin. And it really is thanks to a ton of these developer on-ramps, NFT.storage, S2A, Web3, Starling, and all of the amazing NFT marketplaces, Web3 applications, and others who are working with those on-ramps to bring their data into the Filecoin network. And this also extends into Web 2. So there's a number of groups, from the Max Planck Institute to the Internet Archive, who are all taking their large data sets and storing them in this network. So from NFTs to Web3 dApps to large data, we're really turned Filecoin into being the place where your Web3 data is stored, persisted, and accessible. So I'm sure you can join me in looking back at this amazing list of accomplishments and just, mind blown. Like, wow, this has been a huge, huge, huge year for the Filecoin network. And really, it's thanks to this amazing community. In my last minute, I'll just highlight 4 amazing things that you're going to hear more about in the next 2 days for some amazing work that is coming up next year. The first is Snap Deals, which is a new Filecoin improvement proposal, which really upgrades the accessibility of adding new data into the network. It makes it easier for storage providers to take large deals, so tens, hundreds of petabytes can now get added quickly to the network, and it makes it much easier for clients to add large data as well. FVM is something you've probably heard about, adding EVM smart contracts to the Filecoin network. You probably haven't heard about this, but a big theme for next year is computation in Filecoin, being able to compute over Filecoin data. So check out the MetaProofs talk that's happening later. And finally, Consensus Labs, scaling consensus, making sure we have chain space for all of this amazing work. So please get in touch. It's been an amazing year. It's going to be an amazing new year in 2022. Please join us in making this network as phenomenal and strong and diverse and amazing as we possibly can. Get in touch. I'm Momac28 on Twitter. Would love to chat with you about all that you're building. And thank you. I'll turn it back over to Bailey.
Thank you so much, Molly. I had said booster stage, but this is not the booster stage. This is the exit velocity stage. I know nobody really cares. You're just like, give me more Filecoin information, please. So thanks again, Molly. All of those things that she touched on, we will be going deeper into over the next 2 days. So make sure to check out the full schedule and just highlight what you want to make sure to not miss.